Probably reprogram the whole thing.
First of all, welcome everyone tonight to our regular meeting of May 1st. Like I said, April showers bring May flowers. Instead, we got snow. Okay. With that, I'd like to start this meeting by acknowledging that the land on which we are gathered is the territory of the Ottawa and Chippewa peoples who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We thank you for your strength and resilience in protecting this land and inspiring us to uphold our responsibilities to do the same. With that, as we go through our meeting tonight, may we interact with each other with respect, dignity, patience, and charity. With that, we will start the Pledge of Allegiance. 6 months ago, we had a special help here from Sullivan, who did a great job. I've asked her to be here again to help us lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Sullivan?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I like her pace.
Yes. Nice and tight, it's go loud and proud.
I think, Sullivan, why don't you just stay here because we'll move a lot quicker.
Yeah. He's kidding. Run while you can.
Thank you.
Make that more sharp.
All right, with that, roll call, please.
Commissioner Treadwell.
Present.
Commissioner Stanley. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Shamro.
Here.
Commissioner Werner.
Here.
Commissioner Covert.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Mayor.
Here. Announcements from the interim city manager.
Yes, I do have a couple of announcements, and that is with spring being imminent. There are a couple of things that people should think about during springtime. One is that the city has adopted a ban on coal tar products, and those are used for sealing driveways. So if you are planning to do that this year, please be sure to look at the product information. They should not contain chemicals called PAHs, that's polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and they do harm fish, and the runoff from rainwater on this will get out to the bay, so we don't want that happening in the city. There is information on coal tar and coal tar products on the City of Traverse City website, and that's under the engineering department page. So for those who are planning a spring touch-up to their driveways, please be sure to look at that first. And then another item is that we also do have an ordinance that prohibits pruning of oak trees from April through November. That is to prevent the spread of oak wilt, which is easily spread among oak trees through the root system. So that is why we don't want to have pruning between April and November.
Okay. Okay. From the city clerk, the deputy city clerk.
Thank you. Meetings scheduled for this week are the Planning Commission will meet Tuesday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. here in the Chambers. The Recreational Authority will meet Wednesday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. in the Chambers. The Master Leadership Team will meet Thursday, May 4th at 3:30 p.m. in the Training Room. The Parks and Rec Commission will meet Thursday, May 4th, 6:30 p.m. in the Chambers. And the Downtown Development Authority study session will be Friday, May 5th at noon. Some community updates. We are excited to announce that the city has been recognized as Tree City USA by the Arbor Foundation for another year, marking 34 years total. If you are unable to attend the Master Plan Neighborhood Listening Sessions, an online survey is available to provide your input. Visit tcmasterplan.org for the link. The disc golf baskets have been installed at Hickory Hills at the two 18-hole disc golf courses, just in time for the snowfall. I would like to remind the commissioners, staff, and members of the public to speak into the microphones so those watching at home and the recording of this meeting is easily heard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We now have the honor of making a couple of presentations to Business Organizations Humanitarian Award. Ms. Stanley, would you please join me at the podium? Ms. Loop, would you mind come up and explaining this award, and then Ms. Stanley and I can take it from there.
Hi, I'm the current chair of the Human Rights Commission for Traverse City. And this year, we have given an award to 2 local organizations and businesses that we think exemplify humanitarian work in the Traverse City community. We're very proud to have had so many great nominees and very deserving winners.
As we were going through the reception, I want to give thanks to the Human Rights Commission. Of course, we know that year in and year out, they do great work in giving it an award, the Sarah Hardy Award, and to an individual. But this is the first time we've had awards for businesses or organizations that are out there serving our community. So again, I want to thank you and the entire Human Rights Commission members for this initiative. And while we have 2 tonight, there are numerous organizations and businesses that could have just as easily been nominated. So with that, I'll do the first award, and the second one, Ms. Stanley will take care of. Our first reward goes to an organization that has fewer than 30 employees, and that organization is Food Rescue of Northwest Michigan. They started about 14 years ago, I understand, and they a couple folks in a pickup truck, or whatever, going around just picking up food and trying to make sure it got to great organizations. And I heard tonight, he'll probably repeat it, that they now have a program that rescues over 6,000 pounds of healthy, fresh, and nutritious food from grocery stores, bakeries, and farmer markets every day. Not a week, not a month, day. Over 5 counties. Not only does this food go to those who need these healthy foods in a very strong way, but it also keeps stuff out of the landfill. Mm-hmm. Now, people do want to think about that one, but think of 6,000 pounds every day going into the landfill. That's now, instead of going into people's bodies that need to have them for the good foods that they have. I won't go any further than that, but I want to introduce the Food Rescue Manager, Tyler Moore, to give a couple of remarks. I did tell them to tone it down what they did in there, but they were great in there. So they were great. So we'll take it from there.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, we're going to get you out on a truck after this. That would be great.
You don't want me driving it, though.
Wow, I really gave it all in the reception, but I really like to put into the minutes somehow all the names I read of people who have been involved with food rescue right from the start. One of the pleasures that I had in presenting initially when we were recognized as one of the programs to receive this award was just going over the 1,000 plus people approximately every week who make food rescue work. So we pick up excess food from grocery stores, bakeries, and farms, and we distribute that food to food pantries and meal sites in the 5 Northwest counties. It's 70 different programs, and our focus is on healthy food. And we've come a long way from simply rescuing food. We're working more collaboratively than ever with the Northwest Food Coalition, with Groundwork, with NMCAA, with the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians, in order to address food insecurity, in order to end hunger in our community. We believe that it'll take collaboration. It'll take food rescue being more than just moving food from point A to point B. It'll be more than food pantries just offering up food to people. No, we take into account people's health, people's circumstances, the intersections of all these issues is what we focus on. But we have a remarkable team that does this work day in and day out, and they are here overflowing the room, which is amazing. Volunteers and the founders as well. And I want to highlight where it is we've come since 2008, since we're now at 19 million pounds of food that we've distributed. So in 2008, it was incredibly rare to find any fresh food at a food pantry, let alone any fresh produce. And food rescue began, and that first year, 191,000 pounds of food was distributed. And people knew, wow, this is great. We're putting good food to good use. People deserve, in their time of need, to have healthy, nutritious food. In 2014, the pantries were surveyed by Chris Thomas, and they were asked, how often do you have fruits and vegetables available? In 2 pantries, 13% of the pantries in the 5 counties always had fresh fruits and vegetables available. At that point, we were distributing 1.3 million pounds of food per year. Last year, right now, we are distributing 7,000 pounds of food a day, 2 million pounds of food a year. And now 26 pantries, 66% of the pantries always have fresh fruits and vegetables available when they open their doors. We have a vision. Why this works is because we have a vision of everyone having the food that they need, the healthy food they need to have a happy, healthy life. Food insecurity and hunger it's a massive issue. There's 16,000 people living in poverty, and 1 in 3 households are struggling to make ends meet. They're having to cut food costs in order to pay for childcare, healthcare, etc. But there's something that we can do, and that's where food rescue has come in. We are not going to rescue our way out of solving hunger. That's not how it's going to work. But it is going to take a community, and we have that community. Our work is emblematic of that. You can see that when you participate in our work. You go out on a truck or come to our warehouse, and you'll experience at least a glimpse of what a food secure community looks like, where people are taking care of each other, where they're sharing, where there is not waste, where there is not excess. When we understand that it is an interdependent system, where we understand that those doing the work day in and day out need to be valued, those providing these essential services who worked throughout the pandemic. Be quiet, timer. Who worked throughout the pandemic. You're like, it's serious. You know, who do the work of making sure that children, seniors, folks with developmental disabilities, families, those most marginalized, unsheltered, that they have the food that they need. So it's a privilege to receive this, and this is testament. We feel like this is saying that we're on the right track.
Jen's so tiny. So it is my pleasure and honor to present the award to Traverse Health Clinic and Coalition, known informally around town as Traverse Health Clinic. I say we because 6 years ago, Traverse Health Clinic hired me and allowed me to move back to my hometown from 15 years in exile in upstate New York. So I'm very happy to be able to present this award to Traverse Health Clinic as the organization with more than 30 employees. So Traverse Health Clinic provides access to care for members of our community who are often overlooked and underserved. Roughly half of those that we serve have household incomes below the poverty line. For them, Traverse Health Clinic is a critical healthcare safety net. Patients who cannot otherwise afford their medications are able to get them for free through Traverse Health Clinic's Medication Access Program. Thousands of people have access to vital health care, including behavioral health and recovery services, because of Traverse Health Clinic and the organizations forming its foundation. It got started back in 1974, so going on 50 years serving our community. So in 2022, the Traverse Health Clinic served nearly 4,000 individuals, including many of our most vulnerable neighbors, the unsheltered, the unhoused, people in homeless shelters, people in encampments, and got its start back when some local doctors and nurses began volunteering their services to people who couldn't afford medical care. I believe in an office above the old fire station downtown, above what was formerly Bistro Fufu. So we've come a long way. And so it is my pleasure to present to Dr. Swan, if you want to come up here and say a few words, as well as I know we have some other staff and board members.
I'll say it just a few words, but Traverse Health Clinic believes in serving all people and serving regardless of their ability to pay wherever they are. We, especially during COVID, developed street outreach, street medicine in collaboration with Munson Family Practice residency program. So we're training young doctors to also meet the needs of the community, especially those who are unsheltered or in shelters. Lots of effort there, and couldn't have done that without the whole team. The whole team believes in treating everyone with dignity, and you can't ever underestimate the power of dignity. And that is something when we were doing testing in the shelters and in the encampments or vaccines or whatever, people would say, just little things caught me because we're all masked, right? And they would say, and I'd say, hey, come on in here, we're gonna, test you again. And I'd say the name, and they go, you know my name. That was a big deal. So it's a human endeavor. And so we're so proud to do it with our whole team because it is just who we serve. We serve the people who may have difficulty accessing care wherever they are. I don't know.
If I may, my name is Arlene Brennan. I'm retired now, but I've worked at the Traverse Health Clinic. Yesterday was my first day, and it snowed, but that's fine. Some years ago, if you would recall, we had here in our community the Poverty Reduction Initiative, and Jim Roulette was very active in it. And we did surveys amongst the community. And two of the things that stood out that really were impactful on individuals' lives to make them contributing members of the community were having food, nutrition to keep them healthy, and good health. And I just have thought about it this evening that you chose two organizations that work on that. So thank you.
Okay, we'll give you folks a few minutes that want to vacate, or you can stay for the entire meeting if you want. We're taking these back because we got better frames we want to use. So. If I got here this morning to sign their certificates, then that would be.
I think we need to get additional chairs, Richard, even with them gone, maybe?
No,
we have people go back to the training room?
Well, we'll have it. I don't know. We'll see.
There are some chairs in the
Okay. Only so many chairs you can get here. Okay.
Start interviewing somebody in the middle of the floor.
All right. With that,
Well, we're clearing out.
if we can we go ahead and have the consent calendar, please?
Yes. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for individual consideration by the commission, and such requests will be automatically respected. If an item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. 1, consideration of approving the minutes of the April 17th, 2023 and April 24th, 2023 meetings of the City Commission. Approval recommended. Consideration of waiving the competitive bidding process and authorizing an amendment to the existing agreement for mobile payments for parking, which would extend the term of the agreement for 3 years with no cost to the city, as recommended by the Downtown Development Authority Board of Trustees. Approval recommended. Consideration of declaring 2 Ford F-350 trucks surplus, and consideration of authorizing a purchase order for their replacement, which are 2 2023 Ford F-350 pickup trucks for use by Traverse City Light and Power, which is a scheduled purchase. Approval recommended. 4, consideration of declaring 2 2013 Western Star tandem axle dump trucks surplus, consideration of authorizing a purchase order for their replacement, which are 2 2024 Western Star 47X for use by Streets Division, which is a scheduled purchase, and consideration of authorizing a purchase order for supplemental equipment to be installed. Approval recommended. 5, consideration of declaring a 2010 Ford Ranger surplus and authorizing a purchase order for a 2023 Ford E-Transit 350 all-electric cargo van for use by Traverse City Light and Power, which is a scheduled purchase and which will supersede the City Commission action of December 2021. Approval recommended. 6, consideration of authorizing a contract for uniform rental and laundry services for the Department of Public Services and the Department of Municipal Utilities. Approval recommended. 7, consideration of authorizing the First Amendment to the amended and restated agreement for resource management services with the Grand Traverse Conservation District, and amendment to the related lease for services at Brown Bridge. Approval recommended. 8, consideration of authorizing an agreement for emergency service phone lines and the pedestrian elevators at the Larry C. Hardy parking structure. Approval recommended. 9, consideration of authorizing an agreement related to the artistic banners for West Front Street as recommended by the Arts Commission. Approval recommended. 10, consideration of authorizing the issuance of a request for a proposal for mural project at Bryant Park as recommended by the Arts Commission. 11, consideration of authorizing an agreement for translation services with the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians as recommended by the Arts Commission. 12, consideration of authorizing amendment to the out-of-scope agreement for management of the project in connection with the rebuild of the east and west fine screen unit at the wastewater treatment plant. Approval recommended. 13, consideration of approving the acceptance of an easement in connection with the improvements at 708 Munson Avenue.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to have an item removed from the consent calendar?
Items 5 and 11.
Item 5 and 11. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to have an item removed from the consent calendar? Okay. I'll be happy to entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we accept the consent calendar as amended.
There's a second.
Support.
Okay. We have a motion and support. All those in, okay, we can just go ahead, right? Okay. All those in favor of the, I get that confused. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. First one is item 5, which was consideration of declaring a 2010 Ford Ranger surplus and purchase order of a 2023 Ford E-Transit 350 all-electric cargo. Mr. Treadwell, you had this pulled?
Compared to consent calendar items 3 and 4 immediately prior, this is not replacing an outdated vehicle with merely the newest and latest model, which I can understand, but it is replacing a small truck with a larger and heavier duty cargo van that is, even though it might be electric and thus lower emissions, I'd say it's not exemplifying the city's goals of trying to present an image and live out that image of having a more greener and efficient fleet. And personally, I'd like us to, maybe not necessarily in policy, but as a general practice, try to look for opportunities to reduce the overall size of our fleet, not just in number of vehicles. We might have a good number of vehicles, but if we can get, say, smaller and lighter vehicles that require less resources to produce, and even if they're electric, a smaller, lighter vehicle uses less power than a larger vehicle.
Thank you. I know this came from Light Power, so yes.
Yeah, and I was actually just going to echo that, well, not echo, I guess I would say I support to a point of Commissioner Treadwell's declaration. We don't need to become the issue. I use Baltimore because I know they've been the example that's been profiled the most of they switched to all electric vehicles and then changed everything over to SUVs and got rid of sedans. So I do think we need to be cautious of what we're replacing. And to that end, I guess I would ask, and I don't think anyone from Light Power is here though, is there a reason for this upgrade though? Sometimes there is a reason. Ford Ranger is a smaller pickup. Is this going to be replacing something else and making it larger, or is there more of a multi-use utility to this vehicle versus the Ranger that it was it's replacing?
Would you like to refer this to our next?
Tim might remember better than I do.
No, it will be put to good use as a cargo van. I've talked to staff at Light and Power so that there's good purpose for it, and I understand the overall sentiment from Commissioner Treadwell, because yes, overall we could look at, club cab pickup trucks that 99% of the time carry one person, which is a driver. Like, do we really need that many? I'm all for the pickup truck, but we need the extended cab type version. But that's also a rabbit hole to go down. We need to trust Frank to keep an eye and keep tabs on that and order the vehicles that are appropriate, because it's not our position to be second guessing every vehicle purchase. And I'm all for moving toward electric vehicles because we as a city are signed up for the green rate, so this is being charged effectively with renewable energy. And to me, that's more favorable than just a gas-powered vehicle.
That's why there's two of us on Light and Power, so I appreciate Tim having picked up on that where I missed the question, and for Mitch for pointing it out. So I will go ahead and make the motion that the interim city manager declare a 2010 Ford Ranger pickup surplus so it may be sold at auction, and that the interim city manager be authorized to issue a purchase order to Lunghammer Ford of Owasso, Michigan, in an amount not to exceed $54,637,000 for the purchase of a 2023 Ford E-Transit 350 all-electric cargo van with funds available in the garage fund, and that the motion approved December 21, 2021 be superseded.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there anyone from the audience that'd like to comment? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shamrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Werner?
Yes.
Commissioner Colbert?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Treadwell?
No.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, next was item 11, which was consideration and authorizing an agreement for translation services with the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians, as recommended by the Arts Commission. Mr. Treadwell.
Yes, I'm going to go on a slightly different tack with this one. On the start, I'd like to commend the Arts Commission for recognizing the lack of translation services and respect and appreciation for the indigenous heritage on the land that we sit. And frankly, I'd like to see us not as in this particular item, but take a more proactive stance as a city to identifying other places that could be in need of similar plaques, or say we've got, last time I checked, about a quarter of our city parks are named after dead white people. And yes, we are a city that was founded by white people that are now passed, but there are places, including the very land that this building sits, that were settlement sites, that were grave sites, that were places where Native peoples fished, landed their canoes, picked blueberries, etc. So I would be interested going forward if we could take a more active role in identifying other locations around the city and in the greater area that we can try to better honor that heritage.
Are you against the motion, or are
No,
you going to
I'm in
make the
favor
motion?
of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you going to make the motion?
Yes. And with that, I'll make the motion that the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to execute a contract with Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians for translation services not to exceed $200. Such contract subject as to its substance by the interim city manager and its form by the city attorney, with funds available in the Public Arts Trust Fund.
Support. That motion and support. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to make any comment on this? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. I'm
Excellent.
going to take the liberty of moving item number 2 up, and that's considering of authorizing Traffic Control Order 701. And it's not, we're not going to, I'm not recommending that we authorize what was in the packet, but we're going to go forward. As we talked about this 6 months ago, even at that time, we knew that the limitations that staff would have as it relates to approving a four-way stop area or stop signs, especially if it does not meet warrants. That hasn't changed under this situation. We could have done a better job, I will admit, of getting this information out instead of making it sound like it was absolute, because we knew 6 months ago it wouldn't be absolute. We knew that would, at least I knew, it would come back and we would have to make an approval of it, and we move from that area. I have asked the city clerk or the deputy city clerk to give an alternative motion. I appreciate the predicament that staff was in, because I know a number of years back I was in the same position, and that's what our legal attorney that defended us with not in-house attorney but the legal one says as long the staff cannot do this because of the liability, especially to them personally, but the city commission has a bigger box they get to play in, and so we have the right to do this. The city commissions of the past and current have authorized non-warranted signage. So the liability that we have is already out there. We're not increasing it any. It's just once you put up one, you can put up more. Same way if you put up 1 foot of boardwalk, you have the same liability if you have 1,000 feet of boardwalk. So I would like could you read the alternative motion, please?
The alternative motion is that Traffic Control Order number 701 be adopted and made permanent.
Okay. So with that.
Penny has her hand up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make note, and with some of the emails that I received, there appears to be some confusion that the city of Traverse City exercises some control over the criteria or warrants that are issued or that are used as measurement for whether or not a four-way stop or all-way stop meets the warrants or not. And that is not true. That those criteria come directly from the state of Michigan, and that's what we have to work with through the Michigan Uniform Traffic Code and the Michigan Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. So that is what staff has to work with.
That is correct. Okay, so you hear the motion. I'll be glad to entertain.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll go ahead and make the motion that the city commission authorize Traffic Control Order number 701 to be adopted and made permanent.
Okay,
Support.
We have support by Mr. Treadwell.
Can't believe
Okay.
I remembered
Yes.
it that long.
Thank you for the comments, but just to go a little further, I'd like to apologize to the public because when I saw it, I brought it to the public's attention right away because in our memo, it says, and we'll receive a communication from the city attorney. I never received that communication. Others may have. And there was nothing in here to soften what appeared to be a clear intent to let the traffic control order expire. So just last week, we went through a very good interview process with Nate Geinzer, who stands behind you. He might become our interim city manager. And a good part of that interview was talking about restoring trust with the public. And the way we handled this does not restore trust with the public. And I do not blame the engineering department. They did their part. But we as a city commission could have played a better role in making it clear that we were going through the process as needed, but something in the memo here could have stated that, but we have the authority not to approve this, and in fact, maybe here's an alternate, not even recommended, just an alternate motion that could be made if we so choose. So again, I'm sorry that everybody spent so much time talking to their neighbors. Hopefully that was a good interaction talking to the neighbors. Sorry it had to be about this topic, and sorry that you had to come out on this miserable night.
I also want to add that I really appreciated how respectful the letters were and how detailed, and I read every single one of them and felt proud to live in a city where people cared so much. So thank you all for your participation.
Yeah, and I agree with that. You know, on our end, we'll have to figure out how that works because we don't always have the full packet in front of us to see what the memo says when we go through the preview of the agenda. But I agree with Commissioner Warner that an alternative motion or something, when we've already approved this months ago, when we did approve it, it was approved as a pilot, but at the time we said, and I think many of us up here still feel that's a formality that we have to go through until we can make it permanent. So I too feel that that's unfortunate that that wasn't quite conveyed as well, but I appreciate the outreach from the neighborhoods. It certainly was heard. Replied to a few, but there were a lot, which is always a great sign. So thank you all for your deep care, or how much you deeply care for your neighborhood and our city. And frankly, since, as Richard said it, I'm going to be the one who gets in trouble up here, but since Richard said it, I agree. We've done one, we can do more. I think stop signs help us a lot on our neighborhood streets, and so I'm glad that you all worked so hard to get this implemented, and we'll see how that goes out to other people in the community.
Okay. With that.
Wait, but I'm thinking perhaps.
What?
Oh.
Excuse me. Mr. Nine, thank you for your support on this. It's appreciated. I reached out to him on Friday and was thankful. Please.
You want me to read the rules?
Oh, I'll do public comment right now. Let you come back. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, in the midst of all this, we appreciate your support and your concern and what you've done. But you should also know that you have made a great step forward in our neighborhood with our young children, because they've been actively involved in this, and they're beginning to understand that you can actually take a part in the city government, and we think that's great. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Okay.
public comment.
Okay. I'm going to continue to have it open for public comment. Anyone wants to make any public comment?
Okay, there
That's
we go.
who I wanted to recognize right there.
Okay, hold it. We're going to have to get some. Come up here.
I believe you wrote to us.
Come here. Come on up here.
Yeah, there's a mic right there. You can sit up there.
Yeah, I haven't said right here. Here you go, buddy. You're in charge. Go. Give us your name first.
My name is Sam Reynolds, and I wanted to say that I would really hoping we can keep this stop sign, because I have a friend across the street that I usually go over to some days, and if we didn't have that, it wouldn't be very safe for me to go over and do that.
Thank you.
Darn good reason. With that, I think I'll just close the public comment at this point because it can't be beat. So I know when I'm licked. So I'm out of here. So. Is there anybody else that would like to say anything? I think he said it all. All right. We have a motion in support. Is it all right if I move forward?
Sure.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you. And thank you for your all's patience. You may come back anytime you want, and
Yeah.
you may come back anytime you want also, please.
Sullivan.
Okay.
We want to give a moment?
Yeah, we're going to give you a moment to get out and it's quiet, so.
People can put stop signs at every intersection in neighborhoods for all I care.
You called him Nick.
Mhm.
I think you said, didn't you say Nick?
Hmm?
Did you say Nate or Nick?
No, I heard Nate.
You said Nick? Okay.
Yeah. I'm humble, though.
I'll be
My
honest.
wife accuses me of
I still
humbling.
wasn't 100% sure what it was all the same.
All right. With that, we'll get back to our normal business. The next item is consideration of appointment of Nate Geinzer. I'll get it. You know, take me. I'm slow. It's 286. Nate Geinzer as interim city manager effective immediately in consideration of authorizing the related agreement. I know my name is on here as there, but this is really Lauren Tripolita, our city attorney, and Penny Hill did the negotiations. So I'll turn that over to them if there's any questions. So.
Certainly, the highlights of the terms of the contract are in your packet. The agreement would be with Double Hull Solutions. The person doing the work would be Nate Geinzer. No assignment would be permitted. The rate is $130 an hour for up to 40 hours per week. And this is an all-inclusive rate, no stipend for housing, mileage, that kind of thing. It's all-inclusive. The term of the contract would be for 6 months, May 1 through November 1, and can be terminated at any time, but in the event of a termination before the 6 months, then the contract would be paid out through that date at a rate of 32 hours per week.
September 1.
September 1. Then if a permanent city manager has not been selected by November 1, the end of the contract, then this contract may be extended month to month. Nate would be added as an additional insured to the city's insurance policy and would be subject to the same defense and indemnification for officials as other city officials and employees. Mr. Geinzer is here, and he has indicated that he is satisfied with the contract. So it is now up to the City Commission to approve or not.
That, I'll entertain a motion, please.
I would like to move that Nate Geinzer be appointed interim city manager effective immediately with the terms and conditions as outlined in the vendor agreement submitted with the official meeting materials for the City Commission's May 1st, 2023 regular meeting, and further that the mayor and city clerk execute the agreement with Double Hull Solutions, which provides that Nate Geinzer be the sole individual to provide interim city manager services, with such agreement subject to approval as to its form by the city attorney, with funds to come from the city manager budget.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I fully support this. And this is more for the public's benefit than us, so I'm not trying to talk to my colleagues here necessarily, but 40 hours a week is not much in this position. And so things will necessarily have to be prioritized. And searching for our next permanent city manager is certainly high up on the list. And so there's additional work to be done, and yet 40 hours a week wouldn't be very much even without that additional work. So I'm not trying to say, oh, lower your expectations, anything like that, no reason to, but just for us to all have a little bit of a reality check that this is an interim position, and we'll all need to have a little grace. Thank you.
And for the public, that most of you know that I am in one of these positions right now, and I have a limited hours, but there's times that, don't worry, we'll get the 40 hours and then probably a few more that you won't even see being paid. So it is. So he'll do the job that he needs to do working with our staff. So thank you.
And just on that note, I don't disagree with anything that's been said, but I also just wanted to take this moment as we go into this time to thank all of our staff. We have an excellent staff. I know that they're going to be able to help Nate settle into this position, that they're going to keep things moving, and that while it is true we might not be as full steam ahead, I think that our staff knows what they're doing. They know they've got their priorities, and they've been working on things, and I know they've continued working on things through no matter who's at the helm. And so I just really wanted to also take a moment to thank our staff for being so excellent and so dedicated. So I think that's a huge key in Nate's success and our success going forward as well.
Okay. I'll open this for public comment. Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Hey, Penny, you're back.
Welcome.
You get to go
Penny's
back to
like,
being the assistant. As soon as we sign this.
Yeah. Penny's like, can I get up and go now?
Hey, we've got 2
You've
extra
done a great
chairs.
job.
Already.
I will sign this tonight before I leave here, so, and
Oh, yeah, it
so will
hasn't been
Nate.
signed, so it's not
So,
technically-
oh, Nate, would you please come up and introduce yourself for the public to see once more time, if you don't mind? Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion.
I was hoping to hide officially until tomorrow, but I guess not. Thank you.
Not possible.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to work with everybody. You know, I can certainly appreciate the comments from the city commissioners, but as I've shared an email with Penny, I'm not coming here just to keep a seat warm. I have a job to do, and that's to help the city, the commission, the residents, and the staff manage this transition. I don't think we know what that transition is going to look like. My job is to make it as smooth as possible and to help position you to attract a good long-term replacement for your former city manager, and that's what I intend to do. I have an open door, open mind policy. I will be happy to try to keep up with everything and respond to inquiries and meet with folks as interested, and certainly I'll be relying on the existing staff, as mentioned, to kind of transition in. I know there's a lot on their plates. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pull for me this week, and so again, give it a little bit of time, but we'll adjust, and I'll be happy to meet anybody that wants to reach out and touch base. So thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Next, we have a consideration of authorizing an agreement with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for $7 million in grant funding for the construction of a new senior center. Let's don't delay on this before someone changes their mind. So I think we are all aware that a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, we applied for this grant, and thanks to our state senator and state rep at that time, and everybody in Lansing, including the governor's office and everybody, getting us this $7 million for our grant. So this is the process to receive it. Before we go into a motion, Penny, I was asked about any updates on this, and Penny, if you can give us a brief update where this project is. I know that the architect is in process of working to finish up the design work, so with that.
That's correct. So the timeline for this project is that, as Mayor Lewis said, yep, the architect is working on the construction drawings as we speak. It is anticipated that bids, an RFP for bids would be issued in July, with the bids due in early August of 2023. If that all goes according to plan, then construction would begin in September of this year, and then the construction would end in October of 2024, so about a year of construction.
Okay. When do we expect that our architect will be back with his preliminary cost numbers? About the time of the RFP?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be fine. All right. With that, I'll be glad. I don't know if there's anything else we need to know of, but here we.
You got it, Linda?
Sure. I'd like to move that the mayor and city clerk execute an agreement with the state of Michigan, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, for the receipt of a grant in the amount of $7 million for the construction of a new senior center, with the funds to be deposited in the Senior Center Fund.
Support.
We have motion and support. Is there anyone who would like to?
No, wait.
Quick comment.
Yes.
Just as you come up, I'll just make my quick question. Is it buried in here in the legalese and I just missed it as far as like a timeline? Because, 3 point whatever million still need to be
that's correct.
Designated for
Yes.
this. So at what point does MEDC
So
need us to have money?
the initial half of the funding would be issued on execution of the full execution of the grant agreement. And then the performance schedule for the grant itself is October 1, 2022, so that we can pay for activities that have occurred since October 1. And then the ending is December 1, 2024.
But you're asking about the additional, the $7 million that we need to have funds for.
Yeah, in addition to the 7 million,
Mhm.
we need to have 3.1 million.
Yes.
Does
Yes,
MEDC
there-
have some requirement, like, do they need to see that, hey, we've
Oh, I
got
see.
that lined up? Kind of like a local match, if you will. I know it's
No.
not called that, but
No, they don't. This is just a grant to us. There's no requirement
so if
right
the
now
wheels
for
fall off and we don't have the money to get going on the project for 3 more years, MEDC money will still be there waiting.
Well, I will say that we do have $500,000 that this commission has already allocated. We have about just over $300,000 in the fund balance of the Senior Center Building Fund. And we are actively looking for other funds
And we have
as well.
$250,000 that's been dedicated by the county to this point.
Yes.
So we've got $1 million already.
So we need about 2 million more.
We need about $2 million
So the
more.
public should realize, we need $2 million. You should lobby us, you should lobby the county, you should lobby townships, and help us to cough up the $2 million.
I do know that in a conversation I had with the architect way back before he started this, is that there will probably be the full package that will go out to bid, but there's going to be a number of items that be like alternate bids that may get constructed if the funds are received, and they may be taken out of the project if they're not received, such as pickleball courts. Or extra sidewalks or whatever. What are those things that do not have to be constructed until the last of the project? So those are things that we're going to be looking for. Also, like we'll have the space for the kitchen. Everything will be there. It'll be a white box for all practical purposes, but there will be an allowance for the appliances. You don't buy those until the very end. So it's just things like that we'll have the options of looking at. Main things we have to get a building built before we can do anything else. So
thank you.
Those are things that I think will be coming back to us. So
Sorry, Lil, we jumped the gun with the questions before the public comment part and had you
So
come up
those-
too early.
And that's what I'm hoping to see that we talked about to help move the actual building moving forward.
I don't have a question, but of course I have a comment. There are some new commissioners who don't know who I am. My name is Lil. I live on Washington Street, and I have been fighting for the senior center since I was 6 years old and born in this city. And I want you to realize, if you don't already, how thankful we are that we now have a start with the $7 million. Those of us who are here, who were members of the Friends and who started the Friends of the Senior Center, have gone through this whole thing that you're talking about. We know Ray Kendra. We've seen the renditions. Right now, though, and somebody here is going to tell you that we're in big trouble. The Senior Center is closed. The Senior Center is closed because the boiler's busted and other things. We could have told you this as we did years ago that this was going to happen. The thing that you need to understand is we need to fight for that money. We need to have this senior center built. One of the plans that some of you don't know about was the placement of the senior center was very important because we would be able to keep the existing building while this new building was being built. That's important. So at any time, if those of you who haven't seen the presentation want to hear from us again, let us know through Jim Crothers, who now is leading this. Thank you very much.
And really quick before Jim gets up, because I think he'll have my answer, is, you can answer while you're doing your comment, I won't count against you, is if people, let's say somebody wanted to say, here's $500,000 for appliances or whatever you need, they can give to the Friends of the Seniors, correct? Thank you.
Jim Crothers, resident at 218 West 11th Street, and also the chair of the Friends of the Senior Center. I just want to thank you and support your vote on supporting the MEDC grant tonight as a good start for our project. As Lil was pointing out, and many of the seniors here today, we've been working on this for several decades now. A long time. I mean, as long as Lil said, but I've been involved, and Richard, you've been involved, chicken dinners for years. It's been
Dances.
a long process. We have been waiting on the architectural renderings, so we know what everything's going to cost. I mean, we have allotted monies we know of, but we still don't know what this all is going to cost us. We believe it's around 10 million, but we've been kind of waiting to find out those figures so we, as the Friends, can start a fundraising campaign amongst ourselves. I hope we can raise 2 million, but I cannot guarantee that by any means. But we'll do what we can. If it's selling bricks or naming rights or rocking chairs on the porch or appliances for the kitchen, we're going to figure that out. A lot of people here are very dedicated to the Senior Center, but it's a very important program and project for the city. And as Lil said, it's closed right now, and that's a challenge. This is a daily a facility for our seniors, and when it's closed, they can't get out. They can't do things. This is a very important program. So I know it's kind of throwing good money at bad, trying to fix an old boiler, but I don't know what we're going to do about it. And of course, it's snowing on May 1st. We kind of hoped it would be spring and we wouldn't need to heat the darn place anymore. But whatever we can do to move us forward, to get the construction started and get the Senior Center open again for our seniors is important. But we'll do what we can. Stedmans and everybody here will do what we can to raise some money. So thank you for your continued support of this project. Let's get it done, and hopefully we'll have shovels on the ground before it snows again in the fall. Thank you.
I just leaned over to Penny to see if she and I can meet with our architect to see if we can get more of an update preliminary number, knowing that nothing's final until you get the bid. So see if we can get you in something like that sooner rather than later. I can't answer that. Well, let's finish this. Can we take that up right after we get this? Well, that's.
You can talk to that.
We haven't got a future contract yet, but anyway.
Please come up.
All right, Mayor and City Clerk.
No.
Okay, anybody else
Yes,
that want
sir.
to talk about what is on the agenda here of accepting the grant?
My name's Steve Nyland. I've been there quite a bit. I'm probably the youngest senior doing the rallies and for the support. We want to thank you very much. Like I said before, our seniors made Traverse City. They help us with fundraiser. They help you pay past bills, but it's now for us to help them out. COVID hit, did a lot of damage. Depression, drugs, and this stuff. Seniors don't have no place to go. They don't feel safe because people are shooting at everybody. But now we can keep it down there where they're used to be down there and feel comfortable. And we just got to get our seniors something to look forward to, be proud of, and start participating down in the thing. Mayor Lewis is saying about pickleball and this stuff. Yes, right now it's for the building, but the senior center is for activity for the mind and physical. Last year we had over 150 people playing pickleball alone on 4 courts. very active. There's more and more each year. I volunteer down at the senior center quite a bit. Every day, there's at least 2 or 3 new people coming to Traverse City, joining up to the senior center. So the building's going to get use in this stuff. So hopefully you'll vote to get it started, because our seniors need it from you guys. They trust you guys. So thank you.
My name is Bob Stedman. I was very interested in sitting here and watching the operation of the commission, because I have been such a terrific friend, really, of the commission. You guys have been at our back in the senior center for so long, and so much appreciated. But I sat here and I watched a significant group of people who were here and who were fighting for a particular cause, traffic situation. I watched the people here who were giving food and were taking care of his physical health. And I thought to myself that there's one group in this area that has been terribly underserved. Almost a third of your population is senior citizens. They help to build the community. They continue to work. They are volunteers. And they deserve, at a minimum, this building that we've all been talking about. But one of the things that has been said here got me up, really, more than anything else. The idea is somehow that, well, there's got to be a group out there that'll go out and that will raise money and so forth. Why in God's name do we have to raise the money to finish a building that should have been built years ago? You're getting $7 million from the state. That $7 million would have built it 4 years ago when we proposed raising the money, and of course went to the county.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot count on the county, but you know, you do have a terrific increase in your tax base right now. My God, the prices and the values and so forth are going up. Your tax revenues are going up. The city of Traverse City has the wherewithal, whether it is with bonds, whether it is from current, whatever operational funds, over a period of time to pay $2 million, which is a fraction of the cost of a senior center. And to have a senior center that everyone is proud of. You don't have to say, well, how long will they hold the money? I mean, you said maybe 3 years. My God, do you know what 3 years is? When I started this, I was a young kid, you know, I was only 90 or 89 or 80.
Mr. Stedman, Mr. Stedman.
Oh.
Thank you, sir.
Raise the money, though.
Okay,
You
thank
raise
you.
the money. Pay it.
Hi, Marcia Burrell, Matheson Road, Traverse City. Steve and I are members of Seniors on the Bay, and we're also ambassadors for the Senior Center, which makes us the person-to-person contact with the seniors, where we have comment boxes for people to fill out things. And I wanted to say, too, that, and also I teach a class sometimes, and hopefully this summer I will also be doing stuff on butterflies, because I've been given the okay to do a butterfly garden there and have all kinds of seeds and stuff planted already. Also, this past year, I gave my RMD to the Senior Center Building Fund. It was $1,000, which is not anywhere close to $1 million. But I think it is something that's doable, that we can, if we want to, support the senior center in all the ways we can. And I'm so thrilled by this possibility, and I want to thank you so much from the very bottom of my heart.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Did we vote on this already?
Nope.
We did not.
Oh, we did not. No.
Final comment to, I don't think I was clear in my comment, so I'd like to respond to Mr. Stedman. What I was trying to say was lobby us, which is what you did when you stood there. Tell us to come up with the $2 million, tell the county, tell the townships. I did not say go raise the $2 million. I said convince us to come up with the $2 million. No, that's great, and you said that. And then in my referring to MEDC potentially walking away with the money, I'm trying to convey to the public the urgency to come up with that $2 million. Because whatever that time frame is, it needs to happen. Like those $2 million need to appear from someplace.
Okay. And the only reason I suggest the one, if we don't have it, again, the primary focus here is we have to get the building built.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, if we have to wait a couple of years, like getting kitchen equipment, that may happen. But if you don't have the building, we've got a bigger issue. So the focus has got to get the building built and get as much of it complete as we can.
Yeah, and on top of that, I would say, I agree with Tim, but also I would say that just to clarify anything, all those buildings selling for that much money, there are tax mechanisms that make sure that we don't collect all of that difference. So before people think that we're sitting on piles of money and just being mean to the senior center, that's not what it is. Now, that said, I'm not saying that all has to go to the, that doesn't say that that has to all go to you all to find $2 million. I'm not saying that. But I just wanted to make that clear that things like Headley rollback and things that are imposed by the state to keep us from realizing some of that we'd love to put back into our community if we could, if we had that option. So there's other things that'll be coming up. We'll definitely look at those. But in the meantime, I guess I would just remind people that if they're feeling generous, whether it's a couple $100, $1,000 or more, that the Friends of the Seniors are out there as well to just hand them the checks. You guys don't have to work for it. Let people just hand you checks too. That's great. So I think you guys are worthy of it. We've got some beautiful spokespeople here in the Stedmans and Lil. I think you guys are great poster people for the cause. So I think that we've got a lot of creative people working on this and a deadline. And so now I think that we're going to all be challenged, us up here, maybe those in the county, maybe those in Garfield Township, maybe those in East Bay, to figure out where that money's coming from, because it needs to come from somewhere other than our seniors.
And again,
That's right. That's right, Lil. You should.
one of us up here I know, or two of us up here I know are retired. The rest of them, well, So anyway, and as Mr. Carruthers has explained in many a times on many occasions that, this right now is totally a city of Traverse City project. So we are having to come up with the bills. It'd be nice if our neighbors also came up with some, but there's no obligation for them to do so. So Jim, good luck if you can convince them. So thank you. Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you very much. Okay, next.
You guys.
Folks, this was the easy part.
Well, that's all to you guys.
Yeah. All right, next is by charter, we have the delivery of the interim city manager's proposed budget for fiscal year of 2023 and 2024. Although we don't have a book in front of us, you did get it in an email earlier today. That's how it gets delivered these days. I used to remember we used to hand out these books to everybody, but that's gone away. Oh, how sad.
It is, but
This
if
is
anyone wants to have a binder, we'd be happy to provide that.
Okay.
So.
Ooh. Okay. Old school. Okay. You want to go through the what you have here? What's your on your memo?
Certainly, as Mayor Lewis said, the proposed budget was delivered electronically to the City Commission. It is also on the city website under the Treasurer Department. The proposed budget and supplemental material are there, as well as the draft capital improvements program plan. For the city charter requirements and the scheduling. At the May 1 meeting, we are just not taking any action. We're just delivering the budget,
Well,
proposed budget.
We do have to take action, but it's not going through the
Oh,
budget.
yes. Sorry.
Mhm.
And then at the May 15th regular meeting, there will be discussion on the proposed budget, a high-level discussion. If any commissioners have particular questions that they'd like to talk about at the May 15th meeting, if you could get those to me in advance, that would be much appreciated. That way we can be prepared at May 15. Then hopefully today, the City Commission will schedule a public hearing for May 22. At that point, the public can provide input on the proposed budget. And then if needed, there would be another study session May 30. That's a Tuesday because May 29th, a Monday, is Memorial Day. So hopefully we won't need that. We'll answer all your questions in advance of that. And then at the June 5th regular meeting, the budget would be adopted with all the resolutions accompanying that.
Okay. We do have a motion here. It is basically to set the public hearing for May the 22nd. So
I'll just go ahead and make the motion that the discussion and approval of the city manager's proposed budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024, including the 6-year capital improvements plan, all proposed tax levies for the city and the Downtown Development Authority, and also a public hearing regarding the Traverse City Light and Power and Downtown Development Authority budgets be scheduled for public hearing on May 22nd, 2023.
Support.
okay, we have a motion in support. I'm going to give it to Mr. Wilson. There you go. Okay, is there anyone from the public who would like to discuss this or make comment?
Jim Crothers, resident, 218 West 11th Street. I know this is just introduction, but I will not be able to make your public hearings on the budget, and I've just briefly had an opportunity to race through it today and a little bit yesterday, and I know it's a challenging time. We are going through a major transition in the city of Traverse City. We've tonight hired an interim manager at twice the cost of our city manager in the past. That's something to discuss, but we hope we will get quality services out of Nate. I did watch the interviews, and he interviewed very well. We did give a hefty exit package to the last city manager. I just have a real concern with the piling on of this budget that seems to have happened. Under the last city manager, we wouldn't have had so many positions without a lot more discussion of the city commission added to the budget than we're seeing on this budget. I mean, I understand we've been talking about an urban forester for a long time. I understand that. I understand that the municipal utilities it needs technicians. I also understand our street department is woefully underserviced with staffing there. But a lot of these positions are management positions that are or administrative positions that are just sort of being added to this budget. And I don't think that would have happened with the last city manager if he was still here, because we've tried in the past to add staff in the past number of years, very few, and it has never gone anywhere. But now all of a sudden, this budget, we have a whole list of new requests from departments. I just have a concern. I think we need to hire somebody. We need to get somebody hired, make that our focus. Let's worry about the other hires maybe next year. I mean, I know our staff is woefully understaffed in many of our departments, but it's just a really rough time with the amount of money we're spending or hemorrhaging, in my opinion, on a lot of the projects and programs that we're trying to get done with not very good leadership currently in the top position. We're hoping to have interim support, which we will have through Nate, and hopefully by fall we'll get a new city manager. So I'm just here to argue the number of staffing positions that have been added to that on your budget list. So I really hope you will critically look at that and reconsider some of that new hire for the future, but not right now until we have good management leading us through this, not just having staff department heads throwing out, I want this, I want that. We've heard that for years, and we've had leadership that has sort of quelled that, but I think we still need to keep it down until we have a new manager to work that through. So that's just my opinion, and good luck. I hope this works out, but we'll see. Thank you.
Okay. So, I can't remember. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, thank you. All right, under appointments, we do have a Traverse City Light and Power Board appointment. At that meeting, that was myself. No, it wasn't. I wasn't on that one.
It was Tim.
Mr. Warner, Miss Stanley, and Mr. Treadwell. So who was the chair of that one?
I was chair.
Okay. You want to give your report, please?
Sure. So we interviewed 3 candidates. One of the 3 was the incumbent, Alicia Davila, and we are recommending her reappointment for a second term. The other 2 candidates, quite skilled, certainly qualified, but Alicia brings a certain skill set. She's worked in the she's worked internationally on climate issues, so brings a different perspective to the Light and Power Board, and a very valuable perspective given the where we are at Light and Power rolling out Climate Action Plan just next week. Because of her communication skills, that's kind of her background and specialty is communications. And I'm in awe of that because that's probably my weakest spot. And so I think very valuable, and those aren't just my thoughts. We had a very good discussion about it, and are strongly recommending her reappointment. But any other?
I'll be glad to entertain a motion.
And I will, as a member of the current board, that I would say, as Tim just alluded to, that members thereof are, I would think, would rival any actual non-public electrics board of people that are knowledgeable and work in the industry and are innovative. I'm very pleased to see this, and with great pleasure, make the motion that Alicia Davila be appointed to the Traverse City Light and Power Board, the seat previously held by Alicia Davila, and expiring April 3rd, 2028, as approved, as recommended by the ad hoc committee consisting of Commissioner Warner, Commissioner Stanley, and Commissioner Treadwell.
Support.
Okay. We have a motion and support. Is there any other comment from the public? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Okay, you have reports and announcements and correspondence that are in here. I think last month I forgot to point out something in there, or the last meeting, so I'm looking through here to make sure there wasn't anything that I'm missing there. Okay, we have no reserved public comment. Now I'll open this for general public comment. Okay, Mayor and Commissioners, the only other announcement we should have made earlier, or maybe I missed it, there will not be a meeting next Monday night, which would have been a study session. So you get to have Monday nights off. Now, if you need something to do, let me know, and I'll find some assignment for y'all to take care of while I'm taking off. Okay, with that.
Well, then I have 2 quick announcements from the general comments, which are this coming weekend at the Mercado, there will be a used book sale from AAW, which is a local women's organization that supports scholarships and education and advancement for women. So great deals, great books, lots of great books from that group. And then also, because we won't be meeting, the Friends of the Library are having their annual meeting on May 10th, I think it is, whatever that Wednesday is. I should have double-checked the date. Thank you. It's the 10th, I've been confirmed. And part of that will be a program that's open to the public that is stories from our friends, Crystal Frost, our own Ben Marentet, and, oh my gosh, I just blanked on the third person. We'll be all telling stories about their favorite books and how that influenced their life. It's a free event. There's going to be appetizers and refreshments at the Traverse Area District Library on Woodmere. So I would encourage everybody to come. We did this just before COVID, the last time we had a major annual meeting, and it was a really fun event, very interesting stories, great way to get to know some good people in our community, and hope that we can see some of you there.
You got something, sir?
I do. And you're well aware of this. Maybe you were going to say it. Tomorrow morning's cleanup at the Pines has been postponed until Thursday morning, 9 a.m. And we have been receiving more emails from the public concerned about the trash. Here's an opportunity. Come participate. I'll be there. The mayor will be there Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Meet off of 11th Street at the Men's Walk for a cleanup. And it's a good opportunity to discuss, as a community, what's our path forward. It's not an easy topic, but think of the people. These are humans. They're out there tonight camping because they don't have a home.
Correct. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that.
Yes, and since we're not meeting next week, I can announce this in advance, that Beta will be having its groundbreaking for its new bus shelter and bus watch facility. That's in partnership with the Traverse City Housing Commission, though it's somewhat misnomed in that this project is not actually in Traverse City. It's on Lafreniere Road in Garfield Township. But it will be an exciting project and will, when it's all completed, allow better transportation in and out of the Traverse City area from the people that live south of town.
That's very exciting. And actually, before I say it, because I will kick myself up till tomorrow, the other speaker is Michelle Howard, former commissioner and current library director. So she's always at our meetings, so I forgot she's our speaker. So I did not want to let that go without the meeting closing without recognizing that Michelle is our third speaker. I would be in trouble.
I'm not the only one that works slow.
I know, I get to that point at night, huh?
Thank you. Okay. We don't have anyone else out there? All right. With that, unless y'all just want to hang around, you may, but I'm going to call this meeting to an adjourn. Thanks.
Great. See, there's that thing. I forgot we weren't meeting last week, so I wasn't prepared to talk about that yet.
Yeah. I didn't know we weren't meeting, and now I might be taking a road trip this weekend.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it wasn't 100% confirmed, but